The Journals of Dr. Edward Mantill, The World of Puppets. Firstly, I want to apologize. I have been stuck in a loop of mental thought and rapture as I watched the company I had devoted much of my life to, use the same technology to make micro changes to history and the further growth of the human race, as we know it. When I was on my Earth, your Earth dear listener, Apple Watches had become the new thing. Companies were battling for this global market. CERN simply said they would build a better watch, a faster watch. They would put one powered by a particle accelerator on every person's wrist. In some worlds, this drove people mad. At others it caused something that has been called time drops, where a person just stares off into space, stuck in a mental loop, reliving bad parts of their life. I have come to the conclusion that other companies came on board of this project. The last world, a place I called the world of puppets, lived 6 hours of their lives on the clock, the other belonged to the watchmakers. Here is what I remember: my recording devices and Alice were offline. A good friend has rebuilt the Alice code, in hopes that I can continue my work, without the ears and eyes of my trackers. It was a foggy morning for this world. Fog to them was a red mist created from the coal factories. Dumping in the rivers and streams caused chemical reactions in the water. The reactions forced heavy metals into the air. As I walked along, the mist took my breath, my lungs burned. I saw people moving along as if they were little armies of ants, but on their faces were tiny masks that covered the nose and mouth. Each step I took became harder and harder. As I felt my legs begin to give, the coughing kicked in. With each breath the coughing fits became worse. Finally, I had to prop myself up beside a yellow newspaper stand. I watched as a little girl, no more than 9 or 10, walks up to a machine not too far from me. Then she placed her thumb on some type of reader and a small package popped out. She ran up to me, and said, "Here, mister, keep your mask on in the mornings. It's the law." The helpful kid, I thought. As she ran off, she saved me from death and arrest. I quickly strapped the mask on and somehow the device filtered the red mist, allowing me to take clean breaths. My strength quickly returned and took another step. I investigated the mask dispensing device, on the side and above the glass panel where the words "Clean Breather," a product of Microsoft Core, along with the bottom where the words "Mask in the morning" or "Jail at night." I stepped back wondering what type of world, what type of place I could have landed on. I wonder what out things this world may offer, what clues if any to my world, my home, and your home, dear listener. As a newcomer to each place I visit, I run into problems from time to time. So far I have been lucky in that department. The only good thing is they can't keep me for long. Sooner or later I will flash back home. I watched, as the person filled the streets moving along to whatever they were doing here. In the distance a loud air raid siren blared. The person walking beside me looked at his right hand. A little silver round device that appeared to have been implanted in his hand. The silver dot moved and wiggled strangely, reminding me of liquid mercury with a mind. For a moment an old memory came back, one that still haunts me as I write this short description of events. The city under CERN had a river of this silver stuff leading to an ivory tower right smack dab in the middle of it all. Alice once told me that the things and events would show me the connections that I was seeking, the same connections the family was seeking. For a moment I wondered if the family was somehow behind the red mist and the strange-looking wristwatches. The little silver display blinked 5 hours left. I thought about asking someone off the street the connection between the watches and the siren, but I knew that it would indicate I was an out-of-towner, way out of town. So I walked along, stopping and resting along the way until the time was up. People moved so fast here, one would think I was in the heart of New York City. Strangely, I didn't see anyone buying things. Sure, there were stores. The stores were full of items for sale, but they didn't carry bagfuls of things out, they just moved along to another store. I decide to step into a store, on that, I thought was a bookstore. If you ever find yourself in a strange place, you should seek out one of three places: a bar drunk people love to talk, a coffee house. At a coffee house you can sit back and catch up on everything that is happening in a city. When people get jacked up they love to talk as well, but for a tamer approach I like to visit bookstores. They love to talk about books, and some of the books are about the cities and the world's history. I had a habit of asking if there were any new Stephen King or Joe Hill books, whenever I could. In one timeline, I asked and found out that all fictions were banned, and that it was a crime against the state to have anything deemed as fiction. This place didn't have books, they had little black and silver boxes and thumbprint scanners, and along the top of each box was a digital screen, which displayed the author's name and the set of books he or she had written. In the back of the store, was a large banner, written on it was "All books have been edited for your protection." I thought for a moment and was just speechless. Before I knew it, those 5 hours were up. I was taken in, by the amount of control, whoever had over my carbon counterparts. The last of the 5 sirens echoed, the people on the streets and in the stores stopped and looked down at their silver implants and stopped. Stopped right there in the streets, the stores. Each looked as if they were asleep and in some happy place. Moving around the maze of standing lifeless bodies, I heard a loud buzzing sound. 4 white drones flew overhead, 3 circled around forming a hovering triangle, and the other hovered at eye level. The 3 drones shot out beams that formed an image, a hologram of a man. The other spoke. "I see you found our little project. You're probably wondering what has happened here." As the man walked closer, I was able to make him out, well them out. For a moment it was the person I knew as grandfather, and then it was the time traveler I spoke with in the Red Room at CERN. As the technology grew, so did the artificial intelligence. New computer systems could not meet the needs. The systems came up with their own idea, to use the human mind for 17 hours a day, while they shut down the human body. Humans didn't have a choice in the matter, they had control over everything. They had the bombs, they were the bombs. As the years went by humans adapted. You should know from that number tattooed on your arm, what humans can get used to. Now robots and a few humans control everything. Humans are just a peer-to-peer network of wireless wires and carbon chips. Edward, stay with us, help us or become part of the system. Look around you, the people here didn't have a choice. One day they went for a new watch. An amazing device that would make their days easier, and the next day they were part of the network. But Edward, you have a choice. Sorry, I already have a robot in my head. Around this time Alice came back online and said, "Did you miss me?" "Immensely. Now Alice, get me out of here." These are the stories and journals of Dr. Edward Mantill, the stories of how things could be, and how things will be. The chain has been fixed. Keep the chain and stay paranoid, my friends.